What do you want to do with Mike Waltz and Alex Wong? I meant to ask you this, Rich, because you've got a guy like Mike Waltz who is a personal advisor to Dick Cheney, now inside the inner circle of the Trump administration, and Alex Wong and his wife, who have links to both communist China and to the J6 persecutions. What do you do with these people? You just go, okay, let them stay there. They've been caught. They've apologized, Rich. What do you want to do? You're from Jersey.
It's funny you bring this up.
Thank you.
I just got a call from that office
saying,
you're wrong about me. You're wrong about us. And I said, all right, make this make sense to me. And because of somebody that I do know and trust on a few things, I will give them the benefit of the doubt. But at the very least, Mike Waltz was duped into putting Goldberg's number into his phone.
Okay.
Then somebody, and again, the most, I'm an Occam's razor guy.
Yeah.
Right. If Alex is the only one who was anywhere near the guy's damn phone,
Alex was the only one near the guy's damn phone.
Exactly. But I'm being told, no, you got it all wrong. I'm a refugee from
why?
China.
Why don't they err on the side of caution and say, we apologize, but we don't have the leeway to give you the freaking benefit of the doubt, so you got to go. Why not do it that logical way?
Here's the bottom line. If they're lying to me, and others that I know they called as well, they'll be fried for it, because there is going to be a reckoning. We're going to find out one way or the other exactly what happened. One of the alternative explanations was so unbelievable to me. I laughed and said, if you don't tell me what number 2 is, I'm going to hang up on you right now.
Well, the Waltz explanation of the algorithm sucking his phone numbers into his email was a glitch. I mean, that was absurd. My point is this. If we never find out what technically happened,
we will, though.
Right. Okay. But why not err on the side of caution and say, look, you're a nice guy, Mike. We love you, Alex Wong. We don't have the leeway to allow this to continue.
Well, but if only from a perspective of suspicion, like I don't know if I distrust Waltz or if I distrust Mike Wong.
But you don't have the leeway anymore.
But there was somebody, guys, who for 2 weeks was more than that, actually, was on Waltz like white on rice.
Right on.
You got to call Jeffrey Goldberg. You got to call Jeffrey Goldberg. Take Jeffrey Goldberg's number. Call Jeffrey. So you know this, obviously, because I know we all know who this is, I guess. And for some reason, this guy isn't 6 feet under, politically speaking, right now. I don't understand what the hell.
Hold on. I need you to, who is that person?
I'm not sure I can say that yet, but he knows. Clearly, Mark knows who it is.
Someone within the team was saying
it is.
Knew of Goldberg's presence.
So listen, at the very least, Mike was duped. And then this is always how this scam works. They did the same thing to Mike Flynn.
This is a Mike Flynn redo.
It's a total Mike Flynn redo.
You know that. This is Mike Flynn part 2.
And he's at an event. Jeffrey Goldberg's there. Jeffrey Goldberg basically sneaks up to the side of him. A couple of people take a picture of it, right? And then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, 4, whatever, when this scandal breaks, somebody in the press corps says, did you know who Jeffrey Goldberg is? Have you ever met with Jeffrey Goldberg? And he, of course, says no, because he's never had an official meeting with him. And miraculously, boom, there's the picture that they knew they needed 4 weeks ago. It's such a Mike Flynn.
Can I ask you a stupid question?
The Russian ambassador.
Let me ask you a stupid question. Why don't they use lie detector tests internally like the CIA?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you
why, Rich.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. In the military, if something like this happened, the door would have been slammed shut.
Yep.
My superior officer would have said, "Nobody's leaving this room until you are all polygraphed." And whoever did this would be caught, busted, stripped of a Chevron something. It's like you are going to get in trouble. There will be repercussions. Maybe you're not going to lose your clearance in the end. It really depends on how severe this is.
Right.
This was severe. And I would argue it's even more than the information that was in the message.
Absolutely.
It's that you did it. You added the enemy.
Yes.
You added the enemy. To the text.
There is no, okay, so we can dispel of the theory that it was a deliberate mistake so they could see how nicely they all brainstorm.
That is white hat. Michael Flynn is also part of this 4D chess move. He's going to give up his home and his freedom to root out the bad guys. That is
okay. So dispel. We don't know if Mike Waltz did it deliberately and
but Viva, even if he didn't do it deliberately, if you're that stupid, I agree. Deserve to be in charge of national security?
Do we know when?
I replied.
Do we know when Jeffrey Goldberg was added to his contacts?
Yes, he was. I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. He originally said Jeffrey Goldberg was not on my phone. I did not have him in contacts. Right. I called BS on them on that. They folded. He's in the phone. He's in the phone.
Right.
But do we know when he was added? Because can you see when you've added a contact to your phone?
That is a good. You know what? I could check right
now.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
You could certainly.
But what difference does it make? What difference does it make to quote Hillary Clinton? If I've got Hitler on my mailing list, it doesn't look good as a Jew.
No, but if it does, but if you only added him the day before or the day you sent him a private,
what difference does it make? I've got Hitler on my mailing list. When did he add Hitler?
If he was only added as a contact within close proximity to that gaffe, it's a lot more suspicious than if he's always been on the phone and it's JG instead of JB. That I could understand.
It's suspicious anyway because they hounded him for a while over this. He did not put him in the phone immediately. He said, no, that's that Atlantic loser. This guy is behind every impeachment attempt. So I can tell you that he did push back. No. And they were like, you got to talk to Goldberg. You got to talk to Goldberg. You got to. You're in this seat. You got to speak to certain people. And this is just one of those people. And he did push back for 2 weeks. And then eventually he did not himself admit to putting him in the phone, but they did admit that he is in the phone.
Yeah, no, but that would make sense. But if he was put in the phone the day before, the day of, a week before, and not 2 years ago, if he's been in the phone for an extended period of time, you get a little bit more grace. I didn't realize.
Well, is it possible? Is it possible that Dick Cheney's in his phone as his former advisor?
Right.
Come on, Viva.
What I find stunning is, and I don't want to judge everybody. I've been in group threads, and you see someone's name come up, and it's like,
what is that? A code word for group sex, group threads? What is that?
Group chats, whatever the hell you call it, whatever you old people call it. You young. I've been in there, and somebody's number comes up, and I don't have a contact, and I say, who's this number, so I can add it as a contact. Nobody on that thread. No, sorry, let me rephrase this. Somebody on that thread did not have Goldberg as their contact and would have seen a number that was not identified as a contact. So nobody on that thread said, who's the 416 number? That's Toronto. But that's that. Now, as I say that out loud, now I sort of want to judge everybody on that thread, unless they just didn't expand it to see who the
well, he could have had a 202 area code in DC.
I was just going to say it probably was a 202, but also it collapsed on that app. If there's a lot of numbers in there, it is collapsed. You would have had to actually click on that circle group indicator,
but I still
and then it would tell you all of the ones that were on there.
I'm on a group chat for the Unusual Suspects, and I see when the
movie itself, or
no, just the folks at Patrick Bet-David. And I see when they have letters for their names and when they don't. And when they don't, it means I haven't entered them as a contact. And when they do or have an avatar, it means they have. That's up at the top. I don't have to expand it in order to see that there's somebody's face that doesn't have 2 letters or an avatar. Now I judge everybody on that thread.
Look, if it would have said Jeffrey Goldberg and not a generic number, I think somebody would have caught wind of it, but I think that probably their new administration, many of them actually are getting new numbers. So if they saw this generic number, they would have thought, I could see that. I mean, to be defending them.
It's not their problem. It's not their problem if you come on as Tulsi Gabbard to wonder about who else is on the line. You're assuming that everybody's cleared it, right, Rich?
Yeah, you are assuming that.
Come on.
Yeah, but I will say this too, this defense of one of the biggest points that clearly you could tell they wanted to push back on was this point that Alex, and of course Mike too, but that Alex is not MAGA, and or he's not all about the president's agenda. But then when you push on okay, then do me a favor right now and cite to me something you think is MAGA, which I did. Okay, killing terrorists is not MAGA. Okay. Killing terrorists is what every neocon in the world could say. If you ask them, cite me something that's MAGA. And then when that fails, let's fall back on I actually was running away from communist China, right? Guys, I've heard all of this before. The only reason why I'm even presenting, I did to my own audience, presenting it to them with any degree of credibility at all, is because one person that I particularly know and I've known for many years asked me personally to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't think they were malicious here. I'm a cynic. And I'm trying to explain to them that Trump supporters have a form of PTSD, and you don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore. You just don't.
Why would you give them the benefit of the doubt? Why would you give anybody who is involved in this the benefit of the doubt? Why don't you err on the other side of caution? Say, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. It's unfortunately a situation where we don't have the benefit of the doubt anymore. I apologize for that.
I don't like giving scalps though, Mark. I'll tell you, I don't like.
There it is.
I don't like giving scalps. You don't cut off your friend's head and present it to your enemy in the hope that he's the enemy, you know. But at the same time, do we really know these are friends? And that's the bottom line. You know what I mean?
Just to bring this up, Encryptus and
look at that! It shows a username. That's
it says in Viva in Signal. I have to expand to see.
That's what I was talking about.
In the thread. And if they're not on your phone, of course.
Yep, you have to click on that icon, and then it will expand. And that's what I was talking about.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We're publishing this separately.
It's also possible that their username was not their name. They don't have to.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, why would you allow Alex Wong to be in that administration?
I'm telling you.
When you come in and Susie Wiles said, "All right, let's see who's here. Let me look at everybody's resume, see who stays and who goes." Oh, Alex Wong, you could stay. And your wife persecuted and prosecuted J6ers? That's cool. And let me see here. They got this guy Mike Waltz. I'd like him to leave his seat in Florida because I've known him for a long time from Florida. And I'd like him, despite being Dick Cheney's personal advisor, to be a national security advisor to Donald Trump. Who makes that decision other than Susie Wiles?
The way you describe it, it smells like sabotage.
Thank you.
It does,
Thank
of
you.
course.
Thank you.
It does. And I have argued this now, and I've been arguing this for weeks, that that team may have been a so-called disciplined team to keep the president's campaign in line and protected and whatnot. But these are not a group of people who understand the president's support. I'm talking about the full totality of the president's support. So guys, when you say what's MAGA and the National Security Council is saying, or the National Security Advisor saying, killing terrorists is MAGA. Yeah, killing terrorists is obviously part of the job description. That's not MAGA. Like, if you were MAGA, you would be saying, right now, I basically want to clean up the mistakes of the last 20 years in foreign policy, and I want to change America's standing in the world and bring it back. It's all about America first, baby. That's MAGA, right? So, it's not good. It's just not good. The president needs somebody like a Bannon-like figure. I've said this everywhere.
I'm going to give you the name right now. It's got to be Steve Miller. It's got to be Steve Miller.
Miller's not close enough, apparently.
You got to get him a little bit closer because he's the only guy with the chutzpah and the brains and savagery to pull. Among the people I know, I would prefer Steve Bannon. But I don't think that's going to happen.
I think Bannon knows the little guy better than Miller. I do.
I agree. Bannon would be first.
10 minutes, 20 minutes in the Oval Office with all of these idiots out of the Oval Office every morning to speak with this guy and ground the president again, because the president goes through every day with great political instincts. And then for the rest of the day, all these people are trying to talk him out of his political instincts. That's how the White House goes every day. It's unbelievable. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm not.
No, you're correct.
That's what happens.
You're correct.
Somebody needs
I don't believe a 70-year-old grandmother from Florida is the right person to be the chief of staff for Donald Trump at this point in American history. Call me a misogynist.
That what 35% of black men in Texas voted for? Is that what 55% of Hispanic men in Clark County, Nevada voted for? Give me a damn break.
Give me a break.